Okay, welcome to another exercise round. So today we are going to be having a look at surfers' shoulders and what we can do to get the most out of our surf sessions, our paddling in particular, and look at the long-term longevity of our shoulders, and that will also include our necks. So it's not much fun if we have to stop surfing because we spend so much time in that internal rotation, paddling, pulling position, really strong through pecs, really strong through lats, anterior tilt, tilting that shoulder forward and dropping it down, and then our rotator cuff suffers, and likewise paddling in that neck chin up extension position, leading to some changes in our neck that stops us from being able to look up while we're surfing. So there are a couple of common long-term impacts of surfing that a few simple exercises can help to avoid. So I'm going to be using a couple of hand weights and not much else. So we'll be doing some floor exercises. I'll use the couch, use a few different things. It won't take too long. What we will be focusing on will be our accessory muscles. So instead of focusing on the big muscles that we use that really are our pecs when we're duck diving and paddling, and our lats in particular, these big broad muscles down the sides of our backs. So they're our pulling muscles as we're paddling. So we're not necessarily going to have to focus on them, because if you're surfing, you are naturally strengthening those muscles. So we're going to look at balancing those ones out with our favorite muscles to support surfing. One of the big things with rotator cuff, which is an unfortunately common injury in surfing, is making sure we can do that overhead reach. So instead of focusing on the pull, the powerful phase of paddling, just that reach when you're going to reach overhead before you pull. That's a complex movement. So what we have to do is, as you reach overhead, you get this elevation of your shoulder, and then as it gets higher, as your elbow goes higher, your shoulder blade starts to upwardly rotate. So we've got this combination of elevation and then upward rotation. And if you can't coordinate that movement, you're going to get a whole lot of pinching in your shoulder, and that's going to shorten your surfing and keep you out of the water, which we don't want. So we're going to start off. I'm using a pillow for my knees because I mentioned previously, delicate knees. Standing nice and tall, it's called a tall kneeling position. Weights up in front of you. These are 2 kilos. Anything you have is fine. If they're heavier, do less reps. If they're lighter, you might have to do a few more. And all you're doing is up and out with the arms. That's it. Keeping your elbows bent. Up and out. I think if you were to do one exercise, this would be hard to beat. This really is that perfect combination of shoulder elevation and upward rotation. And what I also like about it is that when you fatigue, you get really tight down the sides of your neck. So that's your feedback. Numbers don't matter, but if you're starting to use the sides of your neck to elevate and upwardly rotate your shoulder, you're in trouble. So you rest. Simple. We want to keep the stress around our shoulders and not just below our ears. It's not that complicated. You just have to be disciplined and rest as required. Okay, from here, push-up position. Have your feet as wide as you like, and you're just alternating one arm up at a time towards your ribs. So there's a fair bit going on with this one. Some trunk stability, lots of shoulder stability as you're balancing on one arm and then on the other. A little bit of strength, more strength if you've got some heavy weights. These are not quite heavy enough. So this is more about our trunk stability and shoulder stability, which are 2 good things for surfing. Try to keep your hips as level as you can as you do this. All right, I'll show you this one from a slightly different angle so you can see how it works. So what I want you to make sure is you're staying as tall as you can, tall kneel position, weights in front of you, and then you're reaching out to the side. And again, we're just listening to our neck. When your neck has had enough, you rest. Or if you can fatigue in our shoulder muscles, that's job done. You have earned a rest. Okay. Back to this other one. Very good. Let's do one more. One more round. Up and out. Last one for me. Okay, back into this position. Push-up position, feet as wide as you like, staying nice and still through those hips. Do one more on each side. Okay, so next up, we're going to use the couch into a push-up position, but with your hands really close and your thumbs are going to be close together, pointing away from you. So you can use the arm of the couch, the side of the couch, the bottom. You can go on the ground. I just find that they're more difficult to control, because what I'd like you to do is some close grip push-ups where you have your elbows underneath you. So not going out to the side. I'll have to show you on the ground for another angle. So trying to keep your elbows really close to your body. Not flaring out your elbows to your side. So as I mentioned with our longevity of our shoulders, you'll find that push-ups are easier with the elbows flaring out to the side. And these might not be a very big range, you're not going very low, but it's really good at picking on the back of our shoulder, which is a nice, I'll just show you one more and then I'll be able to keep talking. So this back part of our shoulder, posterior delts, it's a really good one to draw your shoulder into a nice position. So the ball of your shoulder helps to hold it at the back of your shoulder as opposed to that posterior tilt, that anterior tilt, sorry, that a lot of surfers get, then they wind up through the front, through biceps and all sorts of muscles. So let's avoid that. So puffing. Next one, I'm just going to drop this down a little bit. Okay. Would be more comfortable with a mat, but instead on the ground, when you try and avoid that arched back paddling position, try to stay as long as you can through your back. This is called a W. So wrists to elbows to shoulders looks like a W. I just want you to lift your arms and then reach, return and lower, but just hovering so you're not quite resting. And again, lift, reach, return, hover. Your forehead is resting on the ground. So lift, reach, return, hover. Stay as long as you can through your back. I'm doing one more. You do not need heavy weights for that one. Our arms weigh 6, 7, 8 kilos, so for me, that's enough. Maybe half a kilo or 1 kilo if you're feeling really tough. So again, close grip, small range push-ups. You can do these on your knees as well. You can do them however you like. As I said, the kitchen table, side of the couch, somewhere like that is really good. And you only go as far as your elbows will let you. Okay, no talking during those ones. Back to our W's. So really long through your back. And then lift, reach, return, lower into a little hover. And then again lift, reach, return, lower, hover, lift. I don't think I'll be doing very many this time. One more. Okay. Last round of our close grip, small range push-ups. One more for me. Okay. Last round of our lift and hover. Oh, shoulder's getting tired. It's got to be a good thing. Forehead resting on the ground, long through your back, W with the arms, lift up, and you're reaching overhead into that I position, return to a W, lift, reach, return, lift, reach, return. You're listening to the sides of your neck again, really good for feedback. Maybe 2 more. Okay, so now we're going to do a couple of stretches. I'm going to show you the first one right here. So this one, elbow is out to the side, arm out to the side, elbow bent, and you're rolling onto that shoulder and just holding that for a few seconds, and then other way. A really nice way to stretch out the chest muscles. Longevity is all about keeping muscle balance. Not getting too tight or weak through any muscles in particular. We'll do a couple more on each side. Last one on each side. So that's a nice one to relax our chest muscles. So then another one that I'd like to do is to relax our low back, because after spending a lot of time in that paddling position, you get a lot of stiffness through your back, which is natural. It's like reverse of cycling. So we want to do a counter pose, which is just semi-child's pose where you're rounding through your back. And then you sweep your arms over to one side so we can do a little bit of gentle rounding through our back and a little stretch on the sides of our ribs there on those lats. So just swinging out to one side, reaching those fingers as far as you can, hanging out there, maybe 10 seconds, a little bit longer if you like. And then seaweeding those arms around to the other side to stretch those big lats. Biggest, broadest muscle in our body. Takes a while to relax. Another 5 seconds or so. And then other side. Let's do a couple more each side. It takes a little while for these muscles to unwind. One more, each side. Last one. Okay, thanks for joining me. A few simple ways to look after our shoulders, thinking long term. See you soon.